Welcome back to Road America, America's National Park of Speed. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Austin Cobb for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2. Now, Austin, GRIDLIFE is a motorsports organization that does racing, time attack, drift, and music festivals all throughout the country. But what an opportunity it is to show fans GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, our single-class power-to-weight racing series, here today at Road America.
Yeah, I'm super excited. A lot of people probably don't even have a clue what GLTC is, and I'm happy they're going to get to see it. It's relatable cars you see out on the street probably every day. But, man, and they're all balanced with power-to-weight ratio. So even though we got Corvettes and Caymans mixing with Miatas and Civics, they're all balanced in a way that they're reasonably competitive with each other. And, I mean, they're going to race super close, super clean, no contact series. And it's a lot of fun. Race 1 looked super clean, super fun, and can't wait to see more of it.
Yeah, GLTC is a non-contact sport. We don't hit each other here because all these cars are hand-built. They're built in garages, open-trailered all across the country. These drivers care about the way they race each other. They care about their cars. We want to keep it that way, and so we very carefully curate the way people drive. The opening half page of the rule book says nothing about how your car is prepped. It says everything about how you should race and race cleanly against each other. So that's the expectation. What that means is that if there are two drivers side by side, you leave the other guy space. If you think he might go for a pass, you leave him space, and you're not supposed to dive from a long way back into heavy braking zones. Everyone is supposed to come away shaking hands and high-fiving. That's the way we do it here. But you mentioned the different car balancing. Every car is racing against each other. This is a single class series, 15-minute sprints, so 6 to 7 laps around here, Austin. And those are pretty frantically quick races. So if you make a mistake, you're gone. You got to go, go, go. Every moment is go time here. There's no conserving. There's no waiting around. You have to make every moment your chance to advance forward. There are points on the line for this weekend's events. Again, we take all of the finishing positions from all 4 races and total those up for your points calculation for the weekend. And those will go towards that 7-round championship. The purple Corvette that will start second in this race, Jeremy Swenson, is your championship leader.
Nice. I know he's been super consistent. That's been a story even since last season. I mean, even when he's not winning, he's still doing so well that he's never really losing position. Right now all he's got to do is keep holding it down, keep putting that pressure on Luke McGrew, who has been having a fantastic season himself. He just built that car for this season, and it's been great for him. He has been putting in a ton of work, and he is absolutely flying every time he goes out there.
Yeah, so Jeremy Swenson and Luke McGrew, they are second and first in the start of this race, but they are first and second in the championship battle. Jeremy Swenson has 88 season points to Luke McGrew's 71. You mentioned Luke McGrew with this new build. This is a Corvette build. He used to run a Duratec swap Mazda MX-5, but he decided he wanted to be a bit more competitive, change chassis, change cars, and something has clicked with this build. It went on the dyno after race 1 because that's how we check to make sure everyone is running with legal power, and he passed with flying colors. So that car is perfectly legal. It is perfectly ready to race with us, but he is driving the wheels off that thing. And third in the championship points with 63 points is James Houghton. Now, he didn't have the best qualifying ever, but he did end up near the top 5 here, so he could be a force in that front-wheel drive Acura TSX. That thing looks like a mini V8 supercar. It's real sleek. It's shaped like a bullet, and that was the goal of that car, was less aero, more forward, and it's really, really quick. He'll be rolling off just outside the top 5, I believe. But that car and that driver are always a threat.
Yeah, absolutely. He is always in the mix. When he doesn't have a mechanical, he is going to be in the mix. He's going to be applying pressure. He's a fantastic racer, fantastic driver, and that car is a rocket ship. It might be the most NASCAR-esque car on the grid, even though it's a Honda TSX. But you look at that air dam, you look at his aero setup, it is set up to be slippery, and he has maximized his points allocation to really go for some additional power. So that's what it does well. It races really well, and he drives it really well.
Yeah, and what we mean by points allocation there is anytime that you add complication to your car, whether that's a splitter or a rear wing, or maybe you want to put some fancy transmission in your car. Okay, but you're going to also add some preset percentages of weight to your build, and the goal there is to balance all the cars so you can have a lightweight bullet-shaped car with no aero against a heavier car with aero with a V8 or a 4-cylinder, whatever you want to build, you can race it here. Engine swaps are allowed. You can run arrow up to a certain square inch size on the front and the rear, and it really allows you to build the car that you want to build. Now, we mentioned earlier the minivan racing here, but S2000s are a popular choice. Honda Civics, Acura Integras, Corvettes, M3s, stuff like that. But all relatable cars that look a whole lot more like the car that you drove here to the racetrack today. Just really unique in the world of grassroots racing to have something like this that is all one category where you're racing everybody that takes to the track with you.
Yeah, that's what's super cool about GLTC. That's what brought me here. That's what brought everybody in this class here. That's why people are still building cars for this class right now. The fact that we have 40-something cars on grid, they're all in the same class. They're all racing each other. It means you always have something going on. It's only a 15-minute race, but from start to finish, you're probably going to be around somebody. You're going to be having fun whether you're fighting for first or 40th.
And we often find that the drivers that have the most fun are the ones running 15th, and that's what makes this a really exciting championship, a really exciting series. They see the pace car from Lemons of Love about to take to the racetrack here in just a couple minutes' time. Now, Lemons of Love, of course, is a charity that we've worked with here at GridLife before, and this car has a special message and story behind it. Of course, Lemons of Love, for anyone impacted by cancer. So there is actually a QR code on this car that you can scan, and you can buy some entries to get to win this car, but also that all that money is donated to charity for Lemons of Love. So a really cool story behind that pace car here, and you can find out more at the Lemons of Love website. But of course, when that car parks after this race, see it down in the GridLife paddock and scan that QR code and help the cause. But it's Mike Cohn driving that pace car for us today. Big thanks to Lemons of Love for providing this car. We also have a real rowdy pace car for tomorrow. We won't tell you about it just yet, but it's coming. And we have fun with the pace cars here. We've had the Wienermobile be a pace car. We've had lifted Miatas and all sorts of crazy things before. So we have a little fun with it around here. Whatever you can stick a light bar on, we've probably used it as the pace car.
Yeah, I mean, I love the whole pace car search idea, giving people a little spotlight. Always some cool cars out there, and you never know what you're going to get. So I'm a little excited to see what we got in store tomorrow.
Yeah, just waiting for the call here to roll out onto our one pace lap. So the cars will go around single file. They will double up at the carousel, and then when they come out of turn 14, we are going racing for just 15 minutes. It's the start, it's the end, all packed into one, and this is what GLTC is all about. So we mentioned Luke McGrew in the black number 7. He will roll off as your pole sitter. I'll roll through the rest of the starting grid here in just a couple minutes' time. We also had Eric Catil racing up in the mix. He's got a top 5 in that last race. That is the white, gray, and black and green hybrid racing Civic sedan. Now, there's a great story behind this car we're going to share with you tomorrow on the Jumbotrons, but we don't want to spoil that just yet. We want to get as many people in here before we tell you the story of Eric Catil, because as far as grassroots racing goes, he has one of the craziest stories that we could possibly share over the broadcast here. So Eric Catil, a fan favorite, certainly. That car has so much custom work done in it, and it will roll off position number 5.
Yeah, that build is absolutely crazy. I mean, all these builds have a ton of work into them. People are pouring blood, sweat, and tears into them, but Catil really went next level. He had a vision, and he had to start from scratch, and he built that vision. If I had a quarter of his drive and skill, then I'd probably be racing right now instead of sitting here. But hey, here we are. But that car is absolutely gorgeous. Highly recommend checking it out. I'm sure he'll talk anybody's ear off about it as long as he's not having a wrench on it. It's a super cool car.
So this morning we started our race gridded by qualifying, which happened yesterday. Now, one of the unique formats here in GridLife Touring Cup is each race is gridded differently. So this second race is actually organized by the fastest lap of each car from that first race. So we kind of re-qualified during a race, and that will actually put Eric Catil in 3rd for the start of this race. Luke McGrew Swenson on the front row. Aaron Lichty in that white Porsche Cayman will roll off 4th. Then Andy Smedegard, Matan Rosenberg, and we'll get you the rest as they roll around the racetrack. Still waiting for the command here to fire engines and roll cars for GridLife Touring Cup from Road America, America's National Park of Speed. Here goes the pace car from Lemons of Love heading down towards Motorsports Director Adam Jabay. He will split the field. The pole sitter will choose the lane he wants, and they will split after that. So whichever lane Luke McGrew wants, he will choose.
Is Luke McGrew having an issue here?
He is not rolling yet, and that is there he goes.
There
Finally got started, so might have had a bit of an issue getting the engine fired, but Luke McGrew is your pole sitter. He will start alongside Jeremy Swenson in row number 1. Eric Cattell in the Hybrid Racing EG starts in 3rd. Aaron Lichty alongside him in the white Porsche Cayman in 4th. Andy Smedegaard rolls off in 5th in the number 94 S2000. Matan Rosenberg, James Houghton, and Austin Hurdle make up the rest of rows 3 and 4. Rob Manicherry in a black, pink, and white Mazda Miata rolls off in 9th. Gary Wimble in a red Corvette starts 10th. Micaiah Hackbarth starts in 11th in a green Porsche Cayman. Matt Waldbaum starts 12th in a gray and pink S2000. Eric Meadows in a black Corvette. Ryan Upham in a green M3 are row number 7, and a red S2000 and a black S2000 driven by Zach Lavoie and Tony Marchev make up row number 8. Row 9 is a gold and black S2000. That's Hans Horpedal alongside Joel Morrison, his teammate in a bright green S2000. Behind them, it's an LS Swap FRS. Eric Jensen starts 19th alongside Carlos Mendez in the number 14 BMW. That's an E9, a Spec E9X is Carlos Mendez's vehicle. Louis Chatroop starts 21st alongside Jackson Jensen in a silver C6 Corvette. Scott Robertson starts 23rd alongside Chris Adams, both of those drivers in Mazda Miatas. Then it's Brian Tyson and Lena Chin, both in blue cars. Tyson in a Civic, Lena in an S2000. It is Justin Lee in the number 33 Thing 3 racing car who will start after them. It'll be Justin Lautz in a Miata in the number 177. Then Jeremy Boysen and Colton Wade make up row number 15. Alex Moss, Adam Wood, Wes Penn, Jacob Price, Adam Ulrich, Chris Murray, Joe Tulo, Robert Vierhout, Bill Griffin, Jake Jornstad, and Carl Hurdle in the minivan make up the rest of the field, with Andy Sundin and Tyler Starr starting at the tail end of this 44-car grid. Down into turn number 1, the field is heading your way if you're down at turn 5. And they'll go by single file, take a good glimpse at these cars, all hand-built in garages by their owners. And Austin, again, you know as well as anybody how much effort goes into putting a car like this on the grid. So just give fans here a little bit of a perspective of how much this is grassroots amateur road racing.
Oh, man. I mean, yeah, almost everybody in this field is building their car themselves. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they're doing every bit of work. We all have different skill sets and different things we can do. But, you know, starting from scratch, a purely street vehicle, first you typically are going to modify it for DE or time attack. You know, you're going to change the suspension, sway bars, maybe swap motors, add a turbo, do whatever you do to make power for the class. Then you got to go get it caged. Then you got to add safety gear. Then you got to do maintenance week in, week out. It's just nonstop. And these guys are, you know, we're in our garage every week before every event just trying to get these cars ready. And it's not just having the car started and ready and rolling around. It's got to be ready to be hammered on for 4 races, 15 minutes at a time, and just 100% flat out.
They might be short races, but they are certainly fierce, I'll say that. Basically, put the first 2 laps and the last 2 laps of any race together, and that makes a GLTC race. They are intense, they are fast, they are high octane, but again, the way we race, the goal is that everyone loads their car back up on the trailer at the end of the day with not a single dent, not a single nudge, not a single tire mark, because these are hand-built cars. So much effort goes into them, so that's the goal at the end of this thing. So. Yeah. Under the Speedville Bridge at turn number 8 and 9, and they'll start doubling up soon here, Austin, and when we go green, it'll be about 15 minutes worth of racing. So as we roll through the carousel and head to the kink, nose to tail now, and the kink, what a corner on lap number 1, Austin. Everybody prepares for it. In a GLTC car, some of them you can do it flat without lifting off the throttle. Some of them you got to lift off, maybe touch the brake just to settle the car, but it is a turn that everyone has to work up to take it at full speed.
Right. I know Luke was talking about it last night, and he said he probably can take it flat, but he's been breathing the throttle just a smidge, and he thinks if he stays flat, it won't actually be any faster because he's just going to be scrubbing the tires, having to turn in a little harder. So it sounds like for most people it's just a little breath of throttle, maybe back it off to 90, 80%, just to let the car float through the corner a little bit. But I've also heard that it in particular feels a little strange on this new surface. Initial turn-in and corner entry feels very hooked up, very good, but then the car kind of starts washing out as you get to that mid and late corner, which in the kink is a very unsettling feeling.
Yeah, certainly. So the Pace car should have those lights off shortly, and when those lights extinguish, that will turn us loose for our 15-minute race. And I think the lights are off now, Austin, which means we are going racing next time by. Look at that field of 44 GRIDLIFE Touring Cup cars all in one class, racing for 15 minutes, starting in just a couple seconds. They have a couple more corners to navigate before we turn them loose around this 4-mile course. The last time that we raced here in GLTC, other than this morning, was the fall of 2021 in our championship finale. So it's been a year and some since we've done competition on this exceptional Wisconsin facility here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. But so happy to be here on NASCAR weekend with Porsche Carrera Cup. Thanks, race fans, for being trackside with us. Enjoy the sights and sounds of the strangest sounding field you've ever heard. V8s, V6s, inline 4s. It's a little bit of everything. The soundtrack of GRIDLIFE Touring Cup about to take to the hills of the Kettle Moraine region of Wisconsin. The pace car pulls off and up the hill under pace speed until that green flag flies. Remember the rules. You can race as soon as that green flag comes out. Here we go. This time towards the start-finish line. Waiting, and there's the green flag. We're racing in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. Nice, orderly start. We're 3 wide, though. Rob Manicherry sneaks up the inside on the run down to turn number 1. That's going to be exciting as they head down there towards the first corner. Packed up extremely tight, Austin. It's frantic in the first moments here.
Oh, man, race starts are always frantic. You're really just trying to move forward if you can and hang on to whatever position you have. Looks like they're getting through turn 1 real nicely.
Still side by side here. Tense moments as everybody filters on through. Down through turn 2, Jeremy Swenson has taken the lead away from the race 1 winner. So it's the purple Viking Performance Corvette that leads the way through turn number 3. Everyone's still sorting out behind them. Nice clean start through turn number 1 and 2. Then down to turn 3 and under the Sargento Bridge. Down towards you fans at turn number 5. Perhaps the best passing opportunity here at Road America. Speeds climbing north of 135 in the draft, but it's Swenson leading McGrew, leading Cattell, and Lichty is side by side with that black S2000 of Andy Smedegard into that 5th corner.
Yeah, and it looks like it's been pretty hard to hold on to that position on the inside. I was watching from turn 5 on the last race, and Aaron was taking the inside defensive line, which is typically what you want to do, but people are carrying a lot of speed around that outside shot.
Oh, one car wide at turn 6. I didn't see which car it was. As they sweep on through, it looks like it's Zach Lavoie, the red ASM S2000, went a little bit wide, got up onto the rumble strips at the exit of 6, but we carry on through as the Carl Hurdle machine, the minivan, rolls on through. Not last anymore as it thunders through turn 8. I think Lavoie's got a problem. He's slow and offline, but kind of carrying speed there, Austin, but just didn't look like it's fully up full tilt.
Yeah, I can't really tell if he's just overdriving a bit, maybe going up. Maybe the tires are falling off on him. Maybe the heat of the track is catching him off guard. It looks like he's at full tilt. He's just missing apexes here and there.
Yeah, pull the ticker for just a moment as we roll on through here. The kink at full speed here in a GLTC car. A couple cars getting just nibbles of the rumble strips, but you want to stay off those as much as you can. A couple cars sailing on through there. Very single file line, but now we head our way down towards turn number 12. Canada corner. Here's some side-by-side. Upham and Eric Meadows door-to-door for a moment. There's Carlos Mendez, Hans Horpedal, and more still side-by-side all the way through turn 12 here at Road America, Austin. The racing never stops, and it's just started.
Yeah, it looks like they're pretty much starting to sort it out at this point. This is such a long track that in one lap it looks like we're down to single file, and now the fights will really start to kind of pan out over the course of the race. We'll see how people's tires hold up. The heat of the day might change things up from this morning.
Yeah, here comes Aaron Lichty back on the inside of Andy Smedegard, who stole 4th place away. Here's some more battles. There's Eric Meadows just leading Ryan Upham in a huge battle here coming across the stripe. Carlos Mendez looking inside 3 wide on Zach Lavoie. That's going to be a tight one down into turn 1. Who's going to be the latest of the late breakers into one of the heavier braking zones? But that's 4th gear here at Road America. Such a fast turn as we head over to turn number 1. Here's a look at it. All these cars just sparring for position on the run down to turn 3.
Yeah, it really doesn't look like it from the outside camera, but man, these corners are brutally fast. In these cars, we're not even really braking that much for something like turn 1. It's really just sending it in with a prayer.
Yeah, and you're only going down maybe a gear, maybe 2 if you've got a 6-speed, but I think a lot of cars running perhaps a 5-speed transmission. But into turn 5, James Houghton has a look here at Micaiah Hackbarth in the green Porsche Cayman, but he's laid off. There's Matt Waldbaum. Those two fought door-to-door at Watkins Glen a couple of months ago. Waldbaum won one of those fights in the rain we had here, but this fight again behind Ryan Upham into turn 5. Zach Lavoie on the outside. There's Eric Jensen in the midst of all that as well. Great racing here, mid-pack on the climb up to turn 6.
Yeah, absolutely. Lavoie, again, running pretty wide there. I don't know if he's maybe having an issue with the tires, but it seems like his car's okay. He's still at full tilt. Maybe he's going to gather it up and start moving back forward.
Whoa, a little side-by-side there with Upham. I think, was that Upham and Meadows? They went door-to-door at the exit of 7, and that got pretty tight. No, there's Meadows by himself. It was, who was that? That was alongside of it. Maybe it was Hans Horpedal in the black S2000. But that's a tense moment through there. You're carrying a lot of corner load through turn 7.
Yeah, turn 7, really should be flat. So if you're side by side, it's not flat, but you probably haven't done it very often. So now you're kind of guessing.
Right, and through turn 11 again into the kink and heading down towards turn number 12 at Canada Corner. Your leader has a 5-car length advantage. Eric Cattell runs 3rd right now. Then Aaron Lichty has moved up to 4th. And here's Houghton on the inside of Waldbaum. Waldbaum trying the long way around at Canada Corner, and that should come back his way at Billy Mitchell Bend, turn 13. That will allow him a left-hander, but if he doesn't clear him, it will give Houghton the advantage in the final turn.
Yeah, if you can make it stick around the outside, you get that advantage. But sometimes that can carry out all the way to turn 14 like we see here, and now Houghton's going to pull back ahead.
Yep, so here comes Swenson up the hill. He leads lap number 3, but McGrew trying to reel him back in as they cross the stripe. The gap is down to half a second now between the front 2 leaders. Single file for the rest of the top 10 at the moment, but there is still other fights happening deeper in the field. We'll keep the camera here. There's Meadows. There's Tony Marchev moving up through the field as well. That's for, looks like, 13th place. And look at this battle. Louis Chatroop, Zach Lavoie, and Eric Jensen.
Wide.
3 wide across the stripe. That's wild stuff.
These guys are absolutely going for it, and this is exactly what we were talking about. That top 15-ish, top 20-ish area can sometimes be the most fun you're going to have in these races. But you look up front, McGrew ran fast lap of the race. He is tracking down Swenson. He is not going to give it up that easy.
Yeah, 3 wide on the front straight, 2 laps in a row for Zach Lavoie. I'm sure he's getting tired of being the meat in the sandwich there, but it has been an exceptional fight. There's Jackson Jensen in the silver Corvette. Jacob Price and Justin Lee having a scrap. Adam Ulrich and Jeremy Boysen. There's a car off at turn 3. Is that Eric Meadows? It's in black. I think it's a Corvette. I think that is who went off, but we'll try to get confirmation there for you. But first incident that we've seen of the day. He's back rolling at the exit of turn 3.
I'm going to guess he might have been stuck on the outside, tried to push trail braking on entry, and just got caught out by that not quite as grippy asphalt, and just had to straighten it up out into the grass.
Yeah, turn 3 is not a bad place to go off as far as Road America goes, so didn't get it in the gravel. He will continue. Ulrich and Boysen side-by-side at 5. That's that gold and white Corvette and the red and white Honda Civic. That's a TC car, actually, from SRO America competition.
Oh, nice.
That he purchased just last week. So just jumping right in it. Lena Chin has got Jackson Jensen all over Herb. They're battling for defense here down into turn number 8 with 5 minutes remaining here on the clock. And through turn 8, look at Zach Lavoie back up on it. He's had a frantic race in that number 42.
Yeah, that can be a tough spot to be in. Once you come under attack on a race start, it can be difficult to get your groove back, and you tend to just keep going backwards because people that are online and carrying the speed just kind of keep attacking you over and over, and you can't get into that groove.
Austin Hurdle tracking down James Houghton into turn number 12 and keeping an eye on our race leaders. There they are, sweeping through the shot, just a couple of car lengths between them. And Jeremy Swenson is the points leader. I'm sure he'd like to make sure that he retains that points lead, even though McGrew already has a couple points advantage on him this weekend because of the win this morning. But it's Swenson, McGrew, Eric Cattell, Aaron Lichty, and Andy Smedegard, your top 5. Matan Rosenberg, the 19-year-old, coming into the shot after them. A little side-by-side here. Micaiah Hackbarth out-dragging Rob Manicherry on the run down to turn 1. That's going to be an interesting
making it
fight.
3 wide.
Oh, boy, 3 wide into turn 1. And who comes out the other side?
Houghton was all the way down the inside, so he's going to have a hard time carrying speed.
Oh, there's Rosenberg side-by-side with Smedegard, and Houghton's done it. Past Manicherry and past Hackbarth. 2 for 1 there.
Wow. Houghton should have an easy. Yeah, he just picks it up. He's got that power. We should see him pull a gap down into turn 5 now.
Yeah, that was a great run and went to the inside and passed both those drivers clean. Other battles still remaining on the front straightaway here. But into turn 4, battle for the lead. Here comes Luke McGrew to the inside of Jeremy Swenson. They're side by side. Inside is the number 7. Outside is the number 3. The Purple Viking Performance Corvette hangs on for now, but it is an intense battle for the top spot here with still a couple laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see, I think McGrew was kind of testing the waters there. You can see he didn't really fight for it too hard. He was just seeing what was there, testing the grip out. And we might see him make a move here in the next lap or two.
Down into turn 8 is going to be the next corner for them. We just got a quick look at the minivan right out there on the track right now, running down towards the bottom of the order. But there is the lead battle. Just 2 car lengths separate. Oh, trouble
McGrew's
for
off.
Luke McGrew. The 7 pulls off to the right. He's broken something, and he's off course enough, but I don't know if it's going to bring out a full course or not just yet. But we stay green for now, but certainly that's big news for Luke McGrew. And the huge reason for that is our next race is set by the finishing order of this race, which will bury McGrew in the weekend standings. This is not what he wanted to see at this stage of the race.
That is really going to hurt him on points. I mean, Luke being Luke, I know he's not going to care. He'll have just as much fun fighting from the back through race 3 and 4. But, yeah, that's, I'm gutted to see him do all this work. He qualified on pole. He raced great in race 1. He's racing great in race 2. So we'll just have to see what it is.
Yeah, not a good news for the Luke McGrew machine, the race winner from this morning. So he is stuck to the right at the exit of turn 8 as Jeremy Swenson now finds himself with a much larger lead. But Eric Cattell is not that far back. And without that number 7 in the way, that opens up Swenson for attack from Eric Cattell in that hybrid racing Honda Civic.
I don't know. I was going to say McGrew being in that fight with Swenson was actually helping pull Cattell back in. The gap closed down. I think Swenson's now maybe breathing a little easier. He might just go into his old time attack mode.
Yeah, and remember, he was the track record holder in track modified until this morning. So that time attack experience will help him as we watch McGrew drop down the stacker here on the front straightaway as he is out of the race as it stands. But right now it still remains Jeremy Swenson out front. Eric Cattell, though, did close that gap pretty significantly last time around because of that fight with the number 7 of Luke McGrew. But he's only going to have maybe 2 laps to run him back down. And that's not a lot of time here if your car isn't faster everywhere. You got to make up time in every corner. This is kind of a tale of 2 racetracks. The first half of the track really fast. The second half of the track is more technical. That's where Cattell's car is going to excel in comparison to Swenson's number 3.
Yeah, and that might become a big issue because even if he does close this gap, if he's trying to make the move at turn 8, there's probably a local yellow out there, so he might have his only passing opportunity taken away from him.
It certainly could be. As we watch this battle into turn 1, a couple other cars sparring for position a bit deeper in the field. Jackson Jensen, Bill Griffin. And I think that might be the Eric Meadows machine. But we head back to turn 8, and Luke's gone, so he's gotten that car maybe pulled off course. Excellent work there by the Road America safety team, and we will keep this race green, hopefully until the end. But Cattell trying to drag Swenson back into his sights, but tall task to run a Corvette down in a Civic at Road America.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking such a game, a tenth here, a 10th there. I mean, these guys are absolutely on it, getting everything they can out of these cars. So it's real hard to close down a 1.5 second plus gap without somebody making a pretty large mistake.
Yeah, Cattell taking it right to the edge of the curbing there at turn number 11, so certainly pushing to try to find a little extra pace. Now remember, 2021, the season championship battle between Swenson and Cattell. They were racing each other then, they're racing each other now. A couple years separated in a new car for Eric Cattell. Some things change, but some things stay the same. And Jeremy Swenson and Eric Cattell battling for the lead at Road America is one of those things that has not changed.
A classic tale. We love to see it.
Yeah, same thing with Aaron Lichty. He was the driver that Cattell battled at the very first GLTC race back at Mid-Ohio in 2019. It was Cattell that won that battle, and he's leading by a couple seconds here as well. Swenson heads up the hill, and this time through, the white flag is waving. So 1 lap remaining here from Road America, the National Park of Speed for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2. Under the flag stand and one more time around.
And you see that Cattell picked up a little time, but it was less than a 10th. That is how on it these guys are. They are so evenly matched that they're just kind of just the tiniest push-pull here. I mean, at these speeds, a 0.5 tenth looks like absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and Eric just if he was a little closer, maybe the slipstream, maybe that draft would help him out in that lighter weight car. He switched his front bumper to an air dam versus the traditional Honda Civic front bumper to try to reduce drag, because some of these lighter weight cars, they don't struggle with top speed necessarily if they can get the air out of the way, but they run into a drag problem at the end of these long straightaways that the bigger, heavier cars don't necessarily struggle so much with. But the run down into turn 5, I'll tell you what, Catil's reeled him in a little bit here, Austin.
That's looking pretty good. He's got to be getting close to within a second right now.
And he's got one big straightaway left on the run from turn 10 to turn 12. That will give him one last opportunity to use that slipstream.
It's possible the heat of the day is having an effect on these big, heavy Corvettes tires holding on.
It could. And remember, Swenson lost a race coming back to the start-finish line at Carolina Motorsports Park, a little side-by-side deeper in the field. Is that James Houghton alongside somebody? Maybe Matan Rosenberg? Yeah, that's a battle for fourth.
Picking up Rosenberg.
Wow, nice pass there. But last time through the carousel in race 2, and Catil has reeled in Swenson, but he's only got half the track left to finish that pull-in. And if Swenson hits his marks here, he's home free, but there's still enough corners and enough challenging corners that a mistake is still possible.
I mean, all it takes is blowing the entry to Canada corner, and that could pull Catil just close enough to maybe try and fight up to start-finish. But that's going to be a tall task, pulling that Civic up the hill faster than a Corvette.
Yeah, certainly. Down into turn 12 for the final time, though, on the binders for Jeremy Swenson. And he is the points leader coming into this event, and his last victory came back at GridLife Midwest. It was race number 3, so that was about a month ago. And Jeremy Swenson trying to hold off Eric Catil and looking strong, and this is going to be a good points day for him. A second this morning, and if he can finish the drag up the hill, he would win his how many wins does he have this season so far? This would be his 8th win of the season for Jeremy Swenson. There's the checkered flag, and the number 3 Viking Performance Corvette, Jeremy Swenson, 8th win on the season in 2023. Eric Catil snags a podium, 3rd place for Aaron Lichty behind him. Then it'll be Matan Rosenberg, James Houghton. Actually, Houghton, I think, beat Rosenberg at turn 8, and yes, he will beat the drag to the line in 4th place. Swap those positions around.
I mean, Houghton, he made a pretty good charge in that race, it looks like.
He certainly did. He came from a long ways back, actually. Didn't have a great lap time to set the grid for this race. As Andy Smedegaard comes up the hill, he lost a few spots and drops to the back of the top 10. Ooh, Tony Marchev almost beat him in a drag race to the line, too. But Andy will grab 10th place.
See if we got any more scraps in the back of this field. Looks like everybody's pretty single-filed out right now, even though they're close to each other. Just no real battles going on to finish this thing out.
Yeah, very nose to tail, but not a ton of side-by-side here at the very end. And it has been an exceptional race. The mid-pack battles in particular kind of centered around Zach Lavoie. He was kind of the catalyst for a lot of that in this particular race, but it looked like he was having a lot of fun. I'm sure he would have liked to have some cleaner laps where he wasn't having to drive offline as a big group of cars snares by the timing and scoring stripe. Jacob Price, Alex Moss, and Jake Jorenstad.
Yeah, that definitely tends to drive those mid-pack battles. You get a little cork in the bottle, and all of a sudden you got like 5 or 7 cars all bunched up fighting each other, and I mean, that's what it's all about. It's a good time.
Yeah, really, really great racing. And there's a couple other cars. Chris Murray coming across the line, his first race in a couple of years. Joe Tulo in his return to GLTC after a crash last year at Autobahn Country Club. Finally rebuilt the left rear of that car and has joined us again here at Road America. With that, I think it's probably some of the last cars on track here, Austin, but there might be a few stragglers left. What a race we had up there for the front and in the mid-pack especially. They were really 10th through 20th was the hot spot, all the action there in that race. As there goes the minivan, Carl Hurdle coming across the stripe, finishing it out. They've been having some trouble with that car. It's running about 60 horsepower down from what it's capable of, but still 36 out of 44. Not too shabby, all things considered, for driving a mom van around a racetrack. So I think they'll take that.
Hey, I mean, if you're beating people, you're doing it right.
I'd say so. So with that, it'll conclude GridLife Touring Cup Race 2 here from Road America. And a big thanks to all you folks trackside enjoying it. And we'll be back tomorrow with our Race 3 and Race 4, where we do an invert of a random number of drivers up to the top third of the field. So that will be a very spicy race, I'm sure. So that will be directly before lunchtime tomorrow, the last thing before the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. But Austin, thanks for joining me up here. It was a blast, and I can't wait for tomorrow.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, we'll wrap things up here from Road America. Kyle Heyer, Austin Cobb. We'll see you tomorrow for Track Battle Time Attack and Grid Life Touring Cup, and we'll see you down in our paddock by the Road America entrance tunnel. Come on and say hi and check out the merch booth and all the stuff we got going on down there. Say hi to the drivers and teams, and we'll see you tomorrow.